Go.
My content guy, he's always trying to find the goofy, funny moments. And you know, I've always been weird about whenever I've got to do like video liners and just being like, "Hey, everybody, it's William Beckman. Come see us, this Thursday." It's like, so if you can incorporate any kind of humor, any sort of
Oh yeah.
funniness to it, then it makes it. I feel like it's sales pitchy, put it that way. So we try to do that. Anyway, but thank you. I'm glad somebody thinks my sense of humor is funny.
Cheers, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Toast Podcast. I'm Miss Helen. And of course, here we toast the best from Texas. And one of my favorites is joining us today, William Beckman. Hello to
Hello, Miss
you,
Helen. How are you?
William. I'm doing great now that you're here. So, it's been like maybe a couple of years since we've had you on the podcast. And of course, you are one of my favorites. Follow along with your releases and your shows. And I'm so proud of you. Like you're just out there. You just get better and better and so many great things
Well, thank
happening
you. I
to you.
appreciate you saying that. It's been a really busy year for me, and we're really excited to finally have some new music out, and the shows have been going really well. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, we're going to jump into some of those, but I want to kind of backtrack to Tennessee Drinking. I don't know if you know, but that was Miss Helen's like favorite song
Oh,
of the
really?
year.
Thank you.
Yes. That song, oh my gosh, I played it over and over and just, congratulations on the success of that also.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk about some new music you have out. We talked about here on the podcast, Not That Strong, and I just love the whole delivery of that, the production. But, sometimes it's hard to move on. So tell me a little
Yeah, no,
backstory on that
it's like
song.
I joke with my team that I'm like the king of sad boy country songs, and the vulnerable side of things, which I love. Like I'm a big Gary Stewart fan, and he was like really good at those vulnerable kinds of songs too. And that's one of the songs that when I was writing for this record, it stuck out to me. And John Randall, who produced this record, really liked that song too. And it's funny because the way we wrote it is very different from the way it ended up being recorded. But to me, it's really reminiscent of like early George Strait, like kind of that prime country type of stuff, which I am such a fan of. So we recorded that song, and I ended up really fighting for that song to be the first one to come out, just because it's got the old school thing, which I am kind of known to do, but it also had like a modern spin on it too. So yeah, I'm a really big fan of that song, and the fans have been singing it now that it's out. People kind of know it, and it's been a joy to see people singing the song back to me.
Yes. Another one to talk about that's hot off the presses, Borderline Crazy, kind of going back to like your roots there in Del Rio and talking about the Rio Grande and Mexico. I like the Pacifico beer thing on there because I have a friend that's all she drinks. Like literally, that's all she wants to drink.
It's a good
And I
beer.
told her, I told her the other day, I said, you make me feel like
Yeah.
Mexico around here, girl. But yeah, that's a great song.
Thank you.
Good
Yeah,
job
a
on
really
that one.
cool thing about that song is I wrote that song. I was really excited and kind of nervous because I wrote that song with Red Atkins, and who I've been a fan of his music forever. That Ain't My Truckin' or Drive,
Uh-huh.
and so whenever we got together and started writing this song, he was asking me about where I'm from, and he knew he'd kind of read up on me a little bit, so he knew that I was from Del Rio, and he was like, "Tell me about that." And so I was giving him a little bit of a backstory, and I'd had a couple ideas that day to bring in to the session and whatnot. And then he's like, "Man, let's try to do that. Like, let's write your story, but like try to find a cool spin on it." And then he was like, "What about Borderline Crazy?" I was like, "I love that title. That's a great thing." Because you can kind of the play on words there, me being a border town kid and then making a song about a girl and you wanting her back and going crazy over the whole breakup or whatever. We ended up writing that song really fast in like a minute. I mean, sorry, in like an hour and 30 minutes. And apparently he's really pumped about that song, and he's excited that I cut it and that it's coming out, which is really cool. I'm just a fan, and the fact that he's on that song was really, really neat for me. So any country music fans out there, that's Rhett helped me
Wow,
write
that's
that
a great
song.
story. And I've always been a fan of his also. So speaking of your writing, who is there any other artists that you've been teaming up with to do some co-writes?
Yeah, this whole record is just filled with a bunch of different, very insane writers that I got to write with, and I'm very fortunate to have written with. But Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people. Jesse Frazier is a very talented writer that I wrote with a lot for this record. Jesse Joe Dillon,
Mm,
Dean Dillon's
wow.
daughter, wrote a bunch of songs with me for this record. There's also a Dean Dillon song on this album, one that I an outside song that I didn't help write, but they played me the song and told me it was a Dean Dillon song. I fell in love with it and I recorded that song. Who else? There's a Chris
Yeah.
Stapleton cut on this record, um, which is really exciting. But yeah, I'm such a big fan of a lot of the people that helped me write these songs, and that's the fun part of what I get to do is the songwriting part of it is sometimes the most difficult part, but it is the most fulfilling. And when you write a really good song, there's no better feeling. So I'm really
That is
excited.
exciting. So the album, it's going to be more first part of next year. You'll be coming out with the new album.
Correct.
So looking forward to that. So I guess you're at the point to where all the cuts are picked, it's
It's
mastered.
all
It's
pretty
just
much
like,
it's all done now at this point. And it's my first. So I recently signed my first record deal, and this is the first body of work with a record company that I'll be releasing with Warner Music. And I couldn't be more over the moon about it. Everybody there, the whole team and staff there's really supportive of me, and they're really invested. It seems like in a lot of Texas artists, and you know, I made it very clear as well as my whole team that I've got my thing going in Texas, and I don't want anybody to kind of come in and try to change anything what I'm doing. And they're totally on board. They just want to be a part of it, and they want to help me grow as an artist and help you know just chase the same dream I've been chasing. So it's really neat to have a group of people in Nashville that believe in what I'm doing enough to want to hop on board and support me in that way. So it's been really it's been a good feeling, a pat on the back, and it's like a reassurance that things are somebody likes it. So hopefully that's a good thumbs up.
well, we're so proud for you and congratulations on that. And good for you too for sticking up to your sticking up for yourself on your roots. And it's like because you have such a unique talent. I mean, you seriously are one of a kind with your voice.
Thank you.
And and congratulations because since you know we've been following you since you came on the podcast a couple of years ago, you played the Grand Ole Opry. What was that like for you?
It was everything that you could imagine it would be. I remember, so the first time I did it was a real treat because they had a whole film crew, and everybody is like from the moment I got there and sound checked and got to step in the circle and do the whole thing. The Opry was nothing but just super hospitable, and they made me feel right at home. And they know that because a lot of artists that are doing it for their first time get a little nervous, and you do get the nerves and whatnot. But it was a dream come true. And like I went out there and I did one of my older songs. I did Bourbon
Mm.
Whiskey, and then I did a mariachi song. A lot of people know that I love singing in Spanish, and it felt like a good opportunity to showcase that because a lot of people don't realize that there's people from all over the country, all over the world that are at the Opry on any given night. So there's a lot of people that don't really know who you are. I had my family and a lot of people from my hometown that flew into Nashville just to support me there when I was doing my debut. And so I had a lot of my own fans there and supporters, but there was a lot of people that didn't know who I was. And so I felt like I had to be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I love to do. I hope you follow me. I hope you listen to my music from here on out. And that's why I did Bourbon, and I because that's such an old school country song that it felt right to do it on that stage. And then I did a mariachi song that I'm known to do, so it was cool. I loved every bit of it. And then they had me two more times after that, so I got to play it three times last year,
Wow,
which was
so
really
proud of you.
cool.
That's just that's such amazing news. And then shifting back over to Texas, big stage at Billy Bob's.
I know
Oh,
we got another Billy Bob's Day coming up. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, and that never gets old. Much like the Grand Ole Opry, there's a lot of history there on the Billy Bob stage, and every time we get called to play, it's always a treat. And the fans in Fort Worth there are so good to us that we love it. That's one of my favorite places in the whole world to be on stage and to
there's
get to play for
definitely
them.
such a spirit there in the stockyards and especially at Billy Bob's. And then the whole it just seems like it's become music central there because there's so many of the different little venues in the stockyards where everybody's playing. I just think it's so cool what's happening there.
No, absolutely. I'm my band. We always try to walk around the stockyards before the show and maybe have a beer across the street. But again, like they're so welcoming there at Billy Bob's, and like I mentioned, that's probably top three favorite
Mhm.
places to play in the state of Texas in general,
Uh,
honestly.
it's Have you ever wondered how artists like Treaty Oak Revival, Red Clay Strays, and Aaron Watson maintain the high quality and high demand for their merchandise? CH Lone Star Promo is the answer. Created in Texas to serve Texas artists, and they're currently offering 15% off on all merch orders from musicians. Visit chlonestarpromo.com to get started and tell them Texas Toast sent you.
I was reading the other day that it takes at least $1 million to break an artist. That's a ton of change, and it can feel overwhelming. But with social media leveling the playing field, you just need an effective strategy to release your music. Check out Release Rocket to ensure your single does not die after release day. You've already put time, effort, and tons of money into writing and recording your album. Let the guys at Release Rocket keep your new release alive.
I noticed that your schedule is busy. You got a special tour coming up. We're going to get to that. So, upcoming shows, and then some of the people that you've shared the stage with over the last year. So,
Oh gosh,
I know.
lots of people.
I see it. I see it.
Some of the most noteworthy ones, I got to open up twice uh, for Hank Jr., which was really, really cool. And we were in New England. We were in like Massachusetts and Connecticut, and I got to take a picture with him, which is I wasn't expecting to, but we did those shows with Charlie Crockett and Hank
Mhm.
Jr. And that was one that was a lot of fun, especially to be so far from home and know that there wasn't as soon as I get out of Texas, I'm always kind of skeptical. I'm like, I don't know if anybody's going to know my music or know who I am, but you're always surprised. I had a few fans out there that came to the show to watch me open it up, and Mr. Williams was all awesome. I got to talk to him for a little bit, and you never really know what you're going to get when you talk to Hank Jr., but he was really cool and really supportive, and I'm grateful for that for the opportunity.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I can't even imagine being in his presence. I mean, like just standing there, like that's crazy. So, congratulations on that. And so, you're going to kick off your third Las Posadas tour. It benefits the Texas Cavaliers, which I looked up their charity and the foundation and how much they support children's charities in San Antonio, an amazing organization. So kind of explain the background, the name of that tour and what it means to you and how it all comes
Yeah, so
together.
the name of Las Posadas is the couple of weeks before Christmas, and we this is our third year doing it, and it started off a couple years ago. Me being from Del Rio, I felt very much tied to the community in Uvalde, and so when the Uvalde tragedy happened a few years ago, that's what sparked the idea to do a benefit tour to help the families that were affected by that. And so that's how it began. And I wanted it to be more of like a crooner type of show where I get to sing Christmas songs and Sinatra songs and the Rat Pack type of stuff, which I've
Yes.
always loved. My voice lends itself well to that style of music. And I've always considered myself somewhat of a crooner just because I've always loved that style of music. And it was a good excuse for me to dress up in a tuxedo and pretend to be Sinatra for a couple weeks and sing My Way and Fly Me to the Moon and those songs as well as like Christmas standards. But it sort of became a thing, and we did it one year, and we weren't sure if we were going to do it again. And then come Christmas, when it was getting close to Christmas time this past year, we had a lot of fans reaching out asking if we were going to do it again, and then we ended up doing it again, and now we're doing it a third time. So it's safe to say this is becoming an annual thing. But it's really neat for me to be able to uh, put my own music and my own thing aside and do something completely different. And it's a different band. My drummer is the same drummer in the jazz band, if you will. But he's a classically trained. He's a jazz drummer. He went to school for it, so it's really fun for him to get to play something different and challenge ourselves as musicians and me as a singer. So yeah, it's something that we look forward to every year, and of course, it's all for a good cause. So it feels good to do something and give back to the community, and it's fun for us to be able to have a
And how many
different
shows are
show
on
than
that
we
tour?
typically play. I believe six or seven. I know they added one today. New Braunfels sold out so quickly that they decided to add a second show. So we're
Wow.
excited
I love
about
it.
that.
Love it. Just to showcase your voice on that. But I did look up their organization. It's amazing. So what are some other big shows that you're looking forward to coming up?
Yeah, well, like we did mention Billy Bob's. We've got that coming up in a few weeks. We're excited about that. I'm playing in El Paso, Texas, which I don't get to go out west that far very often. So we're excited about that one. Lots of new stuff in the new year. I know we've confirmed a couple opening slots with Parker McCollum,
Hmm.
who's a buddy of mine. Who every time I get to play on his stage, it's always a lot of fun. His fans are always really sweet to us and me and my band. Um, we're hoping for I believe we'll be opening up for Dirks Bentley a
Cool.
couple shows, which will be really neat. But yeah, things are still getting booked. I'm finding out new things every day on my calendar. So I'm feeling good
You've
about
just
it
been
all.
so busy doing an album amongst all the other things that you're doing. So have you had any time for vacation or some downtime? I doubt it. I'm just
You,
asking just to see if you've actually been doing anything outside of music.
no, actually, we have. I recently got back from. I went to Pebble Beach. I'm not a very good golfer, but I did go to Pebble Beach, very recently, which was nice, and the weather was insane. I love the California weather, and I actually went to. I met up with my family in Las Vegas. My mother wanted to go to Las Vegas for her birthday, so she wanted all her kids there, and I happened to have a weekend off, which is rare. So it all worked out. And we went to see the Eagles at the Sphere,
Cool.
which was really
Oh,
cool. Which was a trip. If you ever get the chance to go to this, I'm not sure if you've been there yet, but it is very very different than anything I've ever experienced. So that was a lot of fun. And it was cool to hang out with the family and be in Vegas. I'd actually never been to Vegas, if you could
okay.
believe that.
And I
But
have
it
a
was really
confession
cool.
to make about that too, because anytime I plan a vacation, I'm going to where there's blue water and there's white sand. So as
Okay.
a result,
Beach girl, a beach girl.
believe it or not, I've never been to Vegas and my friends can't even believe it. And so like we just keep trying to make this plan to go to Vegas, and then every time I turn it into, now we got to go
Yeah,
to an
gotta go.
island.
I gotta go to the beach, Florida or something, or yeah.
Try to save some money. Save some money. And the bad thing is we did, speaking of Las Vegas and gambling, we went to Golden Nugget a couple of weeks ago in Lake Charles, and it's like, okay, this is why we don't go to
Because
Vegas. This is why we just go to the islands
you
and
end up
chill.
walking. If you're anything like me, you end up walking with way less money than you showed up with.
And then even when you start winning something, it's like, I'm just
Right.
stupid. It's like, okay, now I got some time to sit here and roll it some more. Anyway, so much for all that. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm glad to meet somebody else. Of course, I have many years on you, but yeah, my friends are like, where have you been? I'm like, I'm either, younger years, it was, and even at that, it was go to the hill country, go to the Guadalupe. Like I would rather go, yeah. So anyway, planning trips, Vegas never
Right.
was in the picture. Guess what? Who knows? You'll be playing some of those
Maybe.
big stages when you're
Maybe.
there, Vegas. I bet. So, new album coming out, first part of the year next year, first quarter or so.
Yes.
We'll be keeping up with that, and I'm sure that you'll really be grinding, getting busy with that. But we'll have to have you back for the new album. I can't wait to hear if the first two songs are an indicator. I know you got some good
Thank
stuff
you.
for us because all your
Thank
stuff is
you.
so good. Like I told you, I got family members like my niece and nephew. They catch all your shows. They're like constantly. I mean, like I have so many friends that William Beckman. But yeah, Tennessee drinking. Good job on
Thank
that
you.
one. You can ask Kyle. He
We
knows.
play it.
He's like, oh, you're crazy for that
We
song.
played
I'm
every
like,
night.
yeah.
We played every night.
And since the holiday before the new album comes out, you do have another treat for us because you have some holiday tunes coming out.
Yes, we do. Um, the first one that we recorded is White Christmas, and John Randall produced. Not only did John Randall produce this whole record that I've been working on, he also produced these two Christmas tracks. But yeah, when it came time to do it, we wanted to try to put a really cool spin on it because, as you know, most Christmas songs have been recorded 1,000 times by 1,000 different people, and so we tried to find a really cool way to record a song that people have done so many times, and we did. So we recorded White Christmas, and it's really kind of almost kind of spooky in a way, but it's a really neat recording version of it. So that's coming out, and then we did a song called "Ven a mi casa," which means "Come to my house." It's a Spanish song, a standard that's been around since like the late '50s, early '60s, and that one came out really cool too. So I've got one in Spanish and one in English that'll be coming out, I think in November. So gearing up for the holiday season, trying to get everybody
I
on
love the
board.
holidays. That'll be so fun. Have your holiday tunes and then the new album after that. So cool. We're looking forward to that for the holidays. Okay, William. Well, thank you so much for giving us an update coming on the podcast.
Thank
Keep
you.
up the good work. We're keeping up with what's going on. And we'll talk to you in
I
2025 when that new
appreciate it,
album
Helen. Thank you
comes
so
out.
much.
No, thank you.